Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we finally have our first look at the Charlie's Angels reboot with the trailer having dropped earlier this week. I don't know a whole lot going in for this film. I'm a huge fan of the original Charlie's Angels films, however, not the original. I don't believe I actually saw those, or I might have seen bits and pieces of it, but the 2000 version with Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu and Drew Barrymore. Absolutely love those three. It's a bit one of those guilty pleasure movies. Spies are cool, and what's cooler than three female spies? So I'm definitely going to be checking this one out, depending on how well it's received or whether or not I'm impressed by the trailer in general. But I mean, I looked up the directing, and I noticed that Elizabeth Banks is actually attached as the director. Now, I'm not sure if this is her first directorial debut, but she seems to be having quite a moment now of late, and it's something that, honestly, I've she just has that personality that I enjoy every time wherever I see her. I've seen some interviews with her, and she's just a damn delight. I recently watched Brightburn. She was actually quite good in that. I believe that prior to that, last kind of major film that I actually saw her in would have been the Power Rangers movie, which, while wasn't critically received, well received, I thought it was actually fine. I actually enjoyed the movie quite a bit, and I mean, I don't know whether or not they barely made back budget. I don't know whether they've given the green light for a sequel, but I do hope we do get a sequel. But she was good in that as well, and I imagine it's a bit of a reunion for her and Naomi Scott, who's just coming off of Aladdin, but both coming together to work on a project now. Kristen Stewart, of course, who everyone knows from Twilight, and of course there's been a lot of news around Twilight over the past few weeks, a month or a month and a half there, with the new Batman casting. So it's interesting it's good to see her coming out with some projects. I haven't seen her in anything in quite a while, but again, I'm one of those guys who, I'm not afraid to admit, I actually watched Twilight. I enjoyed the films quite a bit, and I still rewatch them every now and then. I just watch it for what it is. It's not intended to be an Oscar-worthy film. It's a fantasy film, and I thought it delivered on that premise relatively well. So I enjoyed the movie, enjoyed Kristen Stewart in it, and I'm looking forward to see what she will accomplish here as well. Alright, so let's check it out.
Check out the Charlie's Angels trailer right now.
Just back.
Don't call me angel.
I think women can do anything.
Just because they can doesn't mean they should.
But I have so many talents.
It's like I'm powerful with a little bit of tender.
I'm just a decoy stud.
That's just the way you make me feel.
Who steals? Your manager? Need money.
Outstanding angels.
Oh, interesting.
You have a new client?
Patrick Stewart
I can't sleep at
as
night.
Charlie.
I'm the lead
And this
programmer
is
on a
Bosley?
product that can revolutionize the power industry. But there is a possibility it can be weaponized.
Elena, we need to go.
Now.
You're not a waitress?
Nope.
No, I'm
She's
Jane.
another
Oh.
angel.
Who are you? I'm Bosley.
Oh, okay. She's
Welcome to the
Bosley.
Townsend Agency. We exist because traditional law enforcement can't keep up.
I don't like that, boy.
You guys are like lady spies. Jane's former MI6.
So they
Oh,
don't
God.
know each
When
other
did you
here,
just
so this
spend?
is sort of an introduction,
I
them just
compressed his
meeting for the
carotid
first
and
time.
deoxygenated his brainstem. Well, that sounds painful.
Don't worry, he's gonna wake up.
Unless he doesn't.
Sabina runs the ground game.
Their names have changed, so they're not
See, I know
the
stuff.
same characters.
Let's get the weapon before it becomes every bad guy's favorite new toy. Take her to the closet, gear her up. We're gonna need some wigs, toys, clothes.
Patrick is having a
We're still in the first closet.
brilliant time of it.
There's another closet. Oh, Vince.
Let's just stop the touching. Some of these blows up. I love phosphorus.
It's my favorite chemical. Jane, are you flirting with a handsome nerd?
Jane.
Of course not.
How'd that feel?
Music
'Cause
on
it
point.
looked like it felt really good.
That felt nice.
We in it together, but don't call me angel.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Alright, so there we have it, our first look at Charlie's Angels, the official trailer. I'm noticing some changes that make me a little worried. I mean, first off the bat, the gender swap with Bosley, who is traditionally a male, sort of the Q to James Bond, but a more comedic role. So my concern is because my only concern with that is a lot of films of late have been, pushing female empowerment, which is great, but at the expense of, alienating the male fan base. Now, this is Charlie's Angels, of course, so the target audience isn't necessarily males, but at the same time, I'm a huge fan. I'm a male, but I love the films. Hell, I love watching the Totally Spies animated cartoon on Cartoon Network back in the day that was heavily influenced by Charlie's Angels. Alright, and so I'm a huge fan of it. I don't particularly feel alienated, but I do worry that that may be the case for a lot of audience members, right? However, that said, Elizabeth Banks, as I mentioned, I absolutely find her delightful in everything that I see her in, and she's actually quite funny. So Bosley is a comedic, adds comedic elements to the Angels, so she, I believe, will actually be a good fit. As to whether or not it will feel organic, I don't know, but won't know until you actually see the film itself. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her in this role. Patrick Stewart is playing Charlie. It's interesting. I mean, isn't he? Well, yeah, he's making a bit of rounds as well. I believe he has Picard. That should be debuting sometime later this year. So I mean, it's Patrick Stewart, so you can't not love him. He'd be a brilliant Charlie, and he definitely has the voice for it. It's interesting that they chose to actually show Charlie's face, which they don't normally do. It's usually just a voice on the other side, of the phone. So they're making a few tweaks to the lore, right? And the angels themselves, their names are different. So Natalie, Dylan, and Alex that we're accustomed to, they seem to be totally different characters. So perhaps they're trying to set themselves apart from their predecessors. So this is definitely not a follow-up or a prequel. It is a complete reboot for the new generation, and it definitely feels that way from the music to the characters themselves. The third angel, the African American actress, I don't actually recognize her, so I'm not sure if she's been attached to other projects before, but I'm definitely looking forward to see how they take on these roles, right? Elizabeth Banks not only directing but also in the film herself, so that's quite an accomplishment, right? So definitely looking forward. I'm intrigued. Want to see more before making a final judgment. So I'm sure this is landing in November, so we'll have some time. We'll probably have a second and third trailer that will give us a better idea as to who the angels will be up against. All right, so be sure to post on the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on this trailer. What are you looking forward to the most? Or are you all out of reboots? Is this one of those scenarios where you've seen the Ghostbusters reboots and all the other reboots that have been coming out of late? Terminator is coming later this year as well. Are you over reboots, or are you just as excited to see this film? Alright, be sure to hit like or subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.